Warning, we are not trained or licensed professionals. Do not take any advice that we give as official doctoral prescribed medical treatment. We only use the name as a means to appreciate cinema as a therapeutic device, not to be confused with drugs, antidepressants, or any other forms of enhancements that you might find in legal states. Please enjoy responsibly.
Additional disclaimer. If the film says we can say it too. So check the film rating, and that will be our episode rating. Welcome to Film Therapy.
Hello.
Hello, I'm Madison.
I am Jake, as always.
We are your therapists today.
Not prescribed, but film therapists.
Yes. And guess what we watched today?
We watched a cinematic classic from 1984 known as Supergirl.
Supergirl.
So we actually haven't talked about the movie since we just finished watching it like 20 minutes ago, but we haven't talked about it since then. So, Maddie, I want to know what you think of the little intricate details of this.
I overall enjoyed it. It was fun. It was funny. It was very magical. And the music was great.
Well put.
Yeah, the opening credits were very captivating, especially with the music. Mm-hmm. It just kind of amped me up for the whole film. It set a good tone. So this movie is starring Faye Dunaway and, Helen Slater. Helen Slater as Supergirl and Faye Dunaway as the evil witch Selena.
Selena.
So I can go try to do a recap for you here.
I would love for you to recap this movie.
Okay, well.
Why won't you? I want to see you try to recap even the first 20 minutes.
Parts
without,
were very confusing. First of all, I wasn't even sure if they were on a spaceship or a planet. But it's technically something in between, so that's why I was confused.
It's a lonely old rock.
Oh, also, we have mics now.
Hallelujah.
Can you hear us? We can do our ASMR much better now.
Welcome to this ASMR video challenge. We will be talking about all things therapeutic, including the flying sequences from this movie.
Yes.
And Peter O'Toole saying Squirt over and over and over again.
Squirt. We'll get to that.
We'll get to it. It's not weird.
So this film begins in an isolated Kryptonian community, which is called Argo City, where we meet Supergirl, but her alien name is Kara Zor-El. And she has got this friend named Zoltar, and he's showing her all this magical stuff that he can do with his magic wand. He actually has borrowed, he says, the power source of the city, one of the power sources of the city, which is a little swirling ball that can fit in the palm of your hand. And he's using that to enhance all of his magical powers. So he's like making things out of thin air, and then the little sphere, which is called an omegahedron. Yes, it kind of brings things to life. So it's got a lot of power. Well, the reason these people are inside this isolated city, it's like just floating, it's like a little mountain floating in the middle of space, is because Krypton was destroyed, right?
Yes.
Right.
And they're the survivors.
They're the survivors.
Except for Superman, obviously.
Right. Superman's on Earth, so they explain that Supergirl, Kara, is Superman's cousin. Mm-hmm. Woohoo! And Superman's already on Earth. Then Kara's friend Zoltar explains that his plan is to take the what does he call the
little spaceship thing?
Yeah, through the
it's the binary chute is what it's called.
The binary chute. He plans to go to Earth with the omegahedron, or no?
Yes.
Oh
no, because he said he was going to like Saturn or something. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah.
But yes. So he wants to go to Earth or Saturn. He talks about going to both, and he's thinking he can use the binary chute as a safe passageway.
Oh, okay.
Because they're in inner space and Earth is in outer space.
Aha. Okay. So
there's a movie. Fun fact: there's a movie called Inner Space. It has nothing to do with this, but I wish it did.
Is it good?
I've never seen it.
Okay.
Maybe that's what we'll watch next.
Let's just do space things.
Space themed.
So Zaltar rolls the Omegahedron over to Zara as he's speaking with someone, and so Kara, over to Kara, and Kara's playing with it, and she makes a little dragonfly thing that flies out of their protective shield and creates a hole in it, and it sucks the Omegahedron out into inner space. And so Zaltar gets into mega trouble, because...
Oh my god. Wait, is there an Omega pun I can put into that?
I don't know. You can try. Because he was blamed for stealing it, obviously. Mm-hmm. Then Supergirl, for some reason, decides that she needs to go get it herself, so she takes the binary chute and goes to Earth.
Well, she goes on her own because she thinks it was her fault.
Yeah, it was her fault. So she's going through this crazy little trippy time loop onto Earth.
Or as my sister calls it, a lava lamp.
Yeah, basically, it looks like a lava lamp.
Yeah.
And, oh yeah, she just starts to discover her powers, which was hilarious.
That was awesome.
Because, like, does she know she's going to get crazy powers? I guess she does, because Superman did. But, like, why? Why do they have powers?
Well, it's because this follows, the original the first three movies anyway. The third one's neither here nor there. But in the first movie, it's like they explain that it's like Superman comes because you see him on Krypton in the beginning as a baby, and then they sent him off to Earth because it's going to explode. And then his dad says something like, when you go to Earth, because of the way your biological DNA is, you're going to get all these powers, but you only get them on Earth. So
okay. Yeah, it's really funny just watching her like jump around and fly, and then she does that iconic Superman pose where she just like fits one fist in front of her and one to her side, and she's like, yeah, I'm flying. That was really funny. And she's crushing rocks, and she can see through walls and heat things up with her laser vision. And best superpower of all is that she can change her appearance in a blink of an eye. So she can change her hair color and her outfit, which is the power that I would want probably.
She can also make flowers bloom, which is great.
That's pretty cool.
I wish I could do that.
That'd be sweet. Mm-hmm. So she lands on Earth, but before she lands on Earth, the Omegahedron lands on Earth, and it comes into the hands of Selena, this evil witch, and she is friends with Nigel, who is a warlock. And they're kind of in a relationship, but kind of not. So now the evil witch has the power of the Omegahedron, which she also has some very good powers already, as we see. Mm-hmm. And so then we watch Supergirl come down, where she finds a school of girls wearing uniforms. And so she transforms herself into a student who goes there supposedly and creates this alter ego and calls herself Linda Lee. Mm-hmm. And then she meets her roommate, who happens to be Lucy Lane, who is Lois Lane's little sister. Whoa, crazy. And
small world.
So Supergirl tells Lucy that she's looking for Clark Kent, that they're cousins, and Lucy's like, no way, I know him. And so I totally thought they were going to meet up with him later on in the movie, but also I was kind of like, they probably didn't because...
Do you want me to tell you now?
Yeah.
So this is in the same canon as the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, if you didn't know. And they were going to have Christopher Reeve be Superman as a cameo or like in a few different scenes. I'm not quite sure what his role was going to entail, but basically when Kara comes to Earth, he was going to be like, I'm going to show you how Earth works and all that stuff. And then he ended up and decided that he didn't want to be in this movie. So then they had to rewrite it a little bit, I believe. I'm not too concrete on that, but that's like what I've gathered from what I've read up on it.
Okay.
So I meant to bring that up earlier when we were watching, and I'm like, I'll just wait. And then it reminded me again.
Okay, good. So there's also a hunky hunk named Ethan.
Every woman in this movie likes him.
Yeah, exactly. So Selena sees him, and she's like, ooh, you're mine. So she makes a love potion and puts it in a drink that she gives him, and he is supposed to fall in love with her when he wakes up, but he's in this daze and goes walking around the city like wreaking complete havoc because Then Selena watches him through her magical mirror, and she can see him walking away from her. So she hexes this tractor. What is ground mover?
Forklift?
Earth mover, whatever it's called.
Is it a forklift?
Not
bulldozer?
a forklift.
What is it?
I think they're called...
Combine?
Let me see. Earth
No, because that's the one that has like the rotating blades.
What is that called? Yeah, it's not a bulldozer. Earth mover clamp
Thingy.
thing.
Well, it picks stuff up, so just look up like, let's see.
Tractor that
picks stuff
up dirt. A loader. No.
Anyway, it's a tractor.
It's a tractor. And so she scoops up poor little Ethan in it and carries him away. But then Supergirl, she's watching this for like 10 minutes, and her friend Lucy has gotten into the tractor to try and stop it, but she gets knocked out inside the tractor. So then Supergirl's like, all right, I guess I'll help. So then she comes up and removes the whole scooper from the front of the tractor with Ethan in it and takes him off to a land where he wakes up and then falls in love with her because she's the first person he sees after taking the love potion.
Mm-hmm.
So he's now in love with Linda, the brunette, as opposed to Supergirl, the blonde.
I would have said as opposed to Selena, but yeah.
That's true too. And also not Selena. So then Selena figures this out and she calls Linda this wimp. She and her friend is Bianca, and she's also a witch, which I did not really understand because I don't really think I saw her do any powers.
Or maybe she isn't a witch. I don't know.
Because she was kind of like, oh, what's this magic mirror? I thought this was a TV. Why is there no sound?
Okay, maybe she isn't a witch. I'm not sure.
I don't know. But anyway, she's fun. I like Bianca. And so she's kind of Selena's...
henchwoman?
Yes,
lackey.
henchwoman. That's the word. Yeah. Oh, and then so they battle a little bit
Roommate.
because... Yeah, her roommate. Selena... Whenever Selena opens the box that she keeps the omegahedron in, it alerts Supergirl on her little bracelet that was made by the omegahedron.
One moment, please. What's in the box?
What's in the box?
Crap! I can't say the rest because it's a PG movie.
Oh no! Yes, this is
All
a
right.
clean episode today.
Yes.
Oh, so every time the omegahedron is opened, Supergirl gets a notification on her Apple Watch, and
Amazing.
and it kind of leads
Perfect.
her to where it is. So she gets pretty close one time, but then Ethan shows up and he's like, I love you, let's ride on this little carriage ride together. And then Selena comes out and disturbs them. Then Supergirl has to fight Selena, and then Selena traps Ethan and Supergirl and banishes Supergirl to the
Phantom Zone.
Phantom Zone. That's right.
Where Zoltar has also been banished to.
Zoltar
Self-banished too.
Yeah, he chose to go there because he did such a bad thing by stealing the omegahedron earlier. So then he finds
losing
her, and then you can explain this scene.
Okay, glad to. So, Supergirl, Kara, ends up in the Phantom Zone, which is this weird, otherworldly, desolate, dark, grimy place. And she tries out her powers again, but she doesn't work here. She can't fly, she can't crush rocks, and she ends up just kind of wandering around aimlessly and then falls unconscious. And then Zoltar shows up and comes by and picks her up, takes her off to safety. And then when she wakes up, he's probably drunk off of whatever kind of sick beer that they have in the Phantom Zone, because I'm sure they got a full service bar.
It's probably Heineken.
And yeah, Heineken. Okay, Pabst, get Pabst. Anyway, so Zoltar doesn't have any Pabst or Heineken, but what he does have is what he calls a squirt. And when I watched this movie when I was a kid, my cousins and I would watch it, and we just thought that was the funniest thing ever. And then now, watching it as an adult, it's still just as funny. Because it's like, why are you saying it like that? Why not just say, do you want a drink? Like I get that you're drunk or whatever, but anyway, like Supergirl's like, we gotta get out of here. We gotta go save Ethan and Lucy from Selena and everybody else on Earth. And then Zoltar's just sitting there being like, oh, forget those people. Let's just sit here and just have a squirt instead. So then eventually she convinces him, to go off, and they have to go redeem themselves and save everybody. So, and Zoltar's like, there's only one way out of here, and it's extremely dangerous, and if you mess up, you die. You only get one chance. There's a cliffside. It's like they have to climb this really high mountain up to the end to get out of the Phantom Zone. And the whole time, there's this red tornado swirling around them, threatening to suck them in. The cliff is inside the tornado. And then there's a bluish, blackish tornado inside the red tornado. So they got two tornadoes trying to suck them in, and they're trying to climb up this mountain with hardly any footholds. And then Selena's, using magic to send fire down their way, and she's, like, trying to stop them. And everybody else is watching them, with anticipation. So then they're almost at the top, and then the storm gets stronger, and Zoltar sacrifices himself to save Kara. And then that gives her the determination to get up and get out. And then she goes, and she gets back to the Selena's fortress. And then the two of them have this kind of battle. And then Selena ends up creating this, what does she call it? Like the demon storm or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Selena summons this thing she calls a demon storm, and this literal demon, like, comes out of, like, thin air, and then Supergirl, like, flies at her and makes the storm out of a tornado, and then sends Selena, Bianca, and the demon into the Phantom Zone through the mirror. And then Selena's defeated, and then Ethan gives Supergirl the Omega Hedron back, and then they say their goodbyes, and he's like, I know that you're Linda, and I still love you, even though the spell's not active anymore. And then she goes off and then goes back to Argo City and restores it. And that's the end.
Woohoo! And then great music plays over the scrolling credits.
Which aren't in 3D, but they could be, because what other movie do the credits come at you? Like,
yeah, that'd be cool.
The end credits it was cool.
So it was a fun time. I didn't really take that many notes.
Yeah, me neither. First thing I want to say, so for the beginning, for the Argo City stuff, what did you think of that? What were your thoughts on that?
I thought the opening shot was really cool, or just our introduction to the Argo City was really cool. I really liked all of the set design for that. It looked like an art museum. It was all white and shiny and spacey, alien-y. Mm-hmm. And I, like, for a moment, I kind of forgot the whole backstory of Krypton and Superman and everything, and just kind of, like, took it in for what it was. And so I thought it was really unique.
Yeah, no, I agree. I really love the design of it, and it's one of my favorite, like, parts of the movie is just the opening itself and just, like you said, how the design looks. I just think it's a really cool and unique kind of opening to a movie. Mm-hmm. And it's all practical, too. Like, it's sets and models, and, that's part of why it's so great. It's not CG. One thing that's kind of interesting is, like, Zoltar's obviously the mentor character, especially if we're talking about film structure. But him and Kara, they kind of have this, like, Doc and Marty kind of relationship where it's like, you're much older than she is, how do you know her? But then also it's like he's probably like an elder or something, and he's the guy that founded the city. So it makes more sense they'd know each other, but it's just that kind of, like, dichotomy. Yeah. I just made that connection, like, 2 minutes ago, and I'm like, does that really make... At first I'm like, oh, that's genius. And now I'm like, wait, does that really make sense or not?
Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, I didn't really picture him as very old, as much older than she was, but at one point someone else calls him old, I think one of the witches.
Yeah, she's like, she's with an old guy, or something like that.
Yeah, but no, that's a good comparison. I really liked the villains, like Selena and Nigel and Bianca. Mm-hmm. And I like that they were witches, because I've been really getting into witchcraft and studying it and everything. And so when at the beginning, Nigel says to Selena, we're going to rule the world or something, but to do that, you have to make yourself invisible. And she's like, well, how do I do that? And he says...
I knew you were doing this. And
he says, you take some black beans and a dead man's head. And that's it. That's all the farther he gets before she interrupts him. So I was like, what the heck? So I just looked it up, and it's actually like an actual spell.
Oh, wow.
So let me read this to you. This is from grimoire.org.
Oh, hell yeah.
It says, to make yourself go invisible, collect 7 black beans. Start the rite on a Wednesday before sunrise, then take the head of a dead man and put one of the black beans in his mouth, 2 in his eyes, and 2 in his ears. Then make upon his head the character of Morale. Don't know who that is. When you have done this, bury the head with the face upwards, and for 9 days before sunrise, water it each morning with excellent brandy. On the 8th day, you will find the spirit mentioned, who will say to you, "What wilt thou?" You will reply, "I am watering my plant." Then the spirit will say, "Give me the bottle. I desire to water it myself." In answer, refuse him this, even though he will ask you again. Then he will reach out with his hand and will display to you that same figure which you have drawn upon the head. Now you can be sure it is the right spirit, the spirit of the head. There is a danger that another one might try to trick you, which would have evil consequences, and in this case your operation would not succeed. Then you may give him the bottle, and he will water the head and leave. On the next day, which is the 9th, when you return, you will find the beans that are germinating. Take them and put them in your mouth and look at yourself in the mirror. If you can see nothing, it is well. Test the others in the same way, either in your mouth or in that of a child. Those which do not confer invisibility are to be reburied with the head.
So when are we doing that?
Wednesday, I guess. Before sunrise.
But why not Thursday? Why Wednesday? That's 2 days. It's
2 days. So that's really interesting that is an actual thing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I really enjoyed like all their crazy magic. They were really powerful. I felt in a good villain. And they weren't like cheesy. I didn't feel like some DC villains are like Batman stuff, you know. And like the effects are kind of okay for 1984, but I felt like 1977 like Star Wars was a step ahead, but I'm sure they had way more money, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Like the effects in the original first Superman movie from 1978, they still hold up immaculately for like 98% of it. And this movie is, it's weird because I saw this when I was younger. Even then I'm like, okay, some of these effects don't really hold up, but I was kind of sucked into it and I didn't really care that much. And then even now as I'm older, I'm still kind of the same way. But yeah, there's definitely moments where it's like, okay, that's an effect, and it just kind of pulls you out of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's better than, you know, bad CG, because at least this kind of has like that old fashioned like, oh, it doesn't look good, but you know, at least they put like their, you know, at least not saying there's no effort in CG, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. At one point, I saw some strings or
when they pull her out of the water.
Some wires.
Is that what you're thinking?
No, I saw it like once when she like jumps over some trees.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I think she might be carrying Ethan. But yeah.
That was awesome.
Oh yeah, when she first arrives on Earth, she comes out of the lake just like a reincarnated Jason and.
I'd much rather run into her than to Jason. Let's be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
For many reasons.
So can she just do everything? Because like kryptonite wasn't even mentioned in this super movie.
Yeah. So I don't know why kryptonite wasn't mentioned, but yeah, kryptonite would have the same effects on her, as far as I know. But yeah, she has like all of Superman's powers, and she can, all that.
Just very powerful. And why did she decide to go to the school in the first place? Did she get a little buzz on her Apple Watch because Nigel is actually a teacher at that school? Or did she just go there because she thought it looked fun?
Well, I think it's honestly, I'm not 100% sure of the reason, but I think it's a bit of both of what you just said. Because remember, Zoltar gave her the Apple Watch. Like remember, because he put the wand to her wrist and gave her the Apple Watch. So whenever the Apple Watch beeps, that's when the Omega Hedron's close by.
Right.
So then I think that is what happened. Is like, I think she looks down at her wrist and the watch is like beeping. So she's like, oh, it's in this area, so I might as well go undercover. But also, when she's not at school, she's like flying nonstop, and I'm like, how tired would you be?
I know.
I think that's why she passes out so quick when she gets to the Phantom Zone, because like she passes out in like 30 seconds, and I'm like, wait, how does that like make sense? And I'm like, oh wait a minute, she's probably been awake for like a week straight.
Yeah,
so like
probably. They're supposed to be in the Chicago area, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I saw this movie a lot when I was younger because I saw all the Superman movies. From 1978 onward, the whole series, and I remember liking it quite a bit and being like, yeah, it's actually like pretty good, and I didn't think it would be because, you know, I was like a 10, 11, 12-year-old boy. I'm like, oh, I like guy things. But then even with that, like, I'm like, this is a pretty good movie. And then now watching it as I'm older, like, I'm like, I still kind of, despite the fact that there's like plot holes, inconsistencies, whatever, I still think it's a really fun movie. I do unironically love this movie, partly because of nostalgia, but also because there's actual good things in it, even if it's not a perfect cohesive whole.
I would have liked her first encounter with those icky men when she first arrives on Earth. They're trying to like sleaze up on her, and I really would wish she would have like snapped their necks or something, but
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
She just kind of pushes them around, but they get the picture.
Well, actually, the second guy really doesn't, because he sees his friend get the crap kicked out of him, and then he pulls a knife out, and he's like, I'm still gonna get you.
Yeah,
and I'm
true.
like, wouldn't you run away after that?
Icky.
Maybe he just didn't care. He was just that sleazy that he just wanted to teach her a lesson, I guess.
Yeah, nasty. Also, have you seen Stardust?
No, I've heard of it, though.
It's really good. I think the witch reminds me a lot of the witch played by Michelle Pfeiffer in Stardust.
Michelle Pfeiffer as a witch.
It's really good.
I'm sold. Wait. There's a bunch of movies called Stardust. I went to IMDb. And
It
there's
probably
a bunch
came
of
out in
movies
like
called Stardust.
2007 or something. 2008.
Okay, there's one that's actually from 2007, so I'm gonna go with that one. Ian McKellen. Henry Cavill, who is now Superman. No?
What?
Hey, Peter
What is
O'Toole's
this?
in it.
Is this a Superman thing?
In Stardust. Yeah, and Michelle Pfeiffer is in it, so it's
Wait,
Claire
it
Danes, too.
is?
So this is the one you were talking about. Yeah, and Mr.
Wait,
Weasley's in it.
What? Mr.
Robert De
Weasley?
Niro.
What?
Ricky Gervais.
Yeah, Ricky Gervais is really funny, and Robert De Niro plays a really good character.
Yeah, Ian McKellen. The new, not the original Grandpa Joe, but the Grandpa Joe from the Tim Burton Willy Wonka. Prince Caspian.
Oh,
from
Ian
Narnia,
McKellen's the
he's in it.
narrator. That's right. Yeah.
The Daredevil from the Netflix series, he's in it.
Henry Cavill plays Humphrey. Oh my god. I did not realize that. That's funny. Anyway, yeah, you should see it. I recommend it. I saw it in theaters with my dad. It was fun. We bonded over it. Anyway, Michelle Pfeiffer, she's kind of like a similar character to Selena here. They kind of live in a similar place, and they have like a dumb henchwoman or like not dumb, but like comedic relief henchwoman. And it was just like the ending there that made me really think of it when she is kind of manipulating the storm with her fingers. She's like twisting it and using her fingers to kind of like move in air, like do her spells in the air. And Michelle Pfeiffer in this scene, she's like using a little voodoo doll to control somebody, and it kind of mirrors that whole sequence pretty similarly. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So
fascinating.
That's what I thought of during that part. And I thought it was interesting that she was wearing white in the final sequence. Like, you'd think she'd be wearing something dark and evil, but she was like a pure angel. So I don't know what that means, but take it as you might.
She can be redeemed. If this was a trilogy, that'd be her 3-movie arc. There's going to be some more like big bad that comes in, and then Selena's going to turn good.
Yeah.
And then she and Supergirl team up and they can use their combined powers. All right, let's write it.
I like that Supergirl is just a strong, independent woman who don't need no man, but maybe she kind of wants a man. You know?
Yeah, I mean, she and Selena both want the same guy, so
and she's not like angry that she and Ethan had a connection, you know, like I feel like Elsa would in Frozen. She'd be like, get out of here, man, I don't need you, I'm a woman.
Well, Elsa's a lesbian anyway.
Okay.
Well,
yeah, it's implied.
They should give Elsa a girlfriend.
Yeah, they should.
They really should.
But then she's just, you know, she takes it as it comes, you know, but she's like, you know, this really isn't the best situation. I got to go back to Argo City and you got to stay here. Sorry, dude. Can do your gardening business because that's the best thing for you. And I just can't deal with it. Sorry. We had fun. Okay. You know, appreciate it.
Well, what they should have done, like I said, if they made it a trilogy, then my initial thought was, how would they get Supergirl back to Earth because she fulfilled her mission? But I'm like, what if the second one took place on Argo City and like Ethan goes there for some weird reason, and then like Ethan and Selena and everybody, Nigel and all them, they all come to Argo City, and then that's like where the second one takes place.
Perhaps. So there's no sequels?
No, there's no sequels.
Okay. Yeah, so...
I honestly wish there were.
Yeah, I think it would be good. Well, so there's a TV show. Have you watched any of that?
I think I've seen... They did the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover, and I've seen that. But that's like deep into season 5 or so, because all the DC series are... The CW ones are all connected, like they're
Like
a
Daredevil,
multiverse connected.
And Jessica Jones?
No, that's Netflix.
Oh, shit, yeah.
MCU. That's Netflix. This is The Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, and a couple other ones. But yeah, so I've seen a little bit of it, but not like standalone episodes or anything.
I haven't seen any of it.
Helen Slater, who plays Supergirl in this movie, she plays the new Supergirl's, like, I think it's her Earth mom.
Oh, really?
I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
But that's cool. But yeah, I don't know anything about it except that Ducky is Lex Luthor.
Is he really?
Yes.
Ducky from Pretty in Pink.
Yeah. He was also in Superman 4 as Lex's nephew.
Oh, weird. Huh.
Which is also a cinematic classic of all proportions.
Oh boy.
No, I'm just kidding. It's awful. Don't watch it. It's actually a really depressing movie because, like, Christopher Reeve had a really good idea behind it, and he actually had this story that he, like, poured himself into a little bit, and then it got screwed up by, I can't say the phrase I want to use, but he got a little screwed up by the studio mandates, and then whoever had the budget, like, they cut the budget in half because they were running out of money, and it just, the effects look like insanely god awful in like the worst movie effects ever.
Oh.
And then they cut out like a half hour of the story, and like it's just a really maligned, unfinished movie, and it's kind of sad because that's the last one they ever made with him, with Christopher Reeve.
Oh, okay.
But this came before that, so we don't have to worry about that right now. We're still in 1984.
Yes. Good year.
What they should have done for Superman 4 was bring Supergirl back, and then she and Superman could have like teamed up for something.
That would have been cool, yeah. I would have liked to see that.
Yeah, me too.
Does Superman ever team up with anyone except for... No. I don't know.
Not in what I've seen. Well, there's obviously like Justice League and such, but like as far as the Christopher
true.
Reeve movies, he's just on his own.
Okay. The only Superman one I've seen is the one with Henry Cavill.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yee.
I'm sorry. Well, it's funny because my opinion of that movie has drastically decreased over time.
Yeah. I really liked it when I first saw it, but then I was like, no, it's not so much.
For me, it makes significant choices to the character and the mythos that I just don't agree with. A lot of people got really upset by how he handles Zod in the movie. And I'm speaking vaguely to avoid spoilers, but to me, I really dug that. I thought that was a really great approach. But it's more things in the first act that I was like, I don't really agree with the direction you're taking this. But also the original movie, I'm biased because all the original movies, but especially the first one, and Christopher Reeve just means so much to me and just kind of shaped me as a person. Really, just that movie is like one of my favorite films ever.
Yeah.
So of course I'm going to be biased going into it. But that movie is perfect. The original Superman. But anyway, that's my little spiel. Hopefully that made sense.
Yeah, that's good. So what else you got?
First thing I want to talk about is Ethan. Does this dude like write poetry in his spare time? Because he
God.
had some killer lines. Like he said he tied something in with her name. Like that was great. And then he
Let me see if there's any quotes of it.
Yeah, find the quote. He's like, "Dear Linda, these flowers are something or other." But he just kept coming up with them on the fly, and I'm like, okay, is this like a quote from something, or is this dude like actually trying to be a poet? And I'm like, that's kind of nice. I like that. I dig it. It's fine.
Oh, here's a quote. What's with the Halloween costume? This is not a costume. These are my clothes.
Yes. Perfect.
Which is now my motto.
That's mine too. Especially around Halloween when I think I might dress up this year, and if I do, that's gonna be my response to people.
Yeah, definitely. I don't see any from when he's under the love potion spell. But yeah, he was just speaking in poetry the whole time.
He was just firing them off left and right, and I'm like, you're actually not that bad at this, bro.
It's pretty good.
You're doing better than I probably would.
Oh yeah.
And there's the moment when Selena hits him in the head with a coconut, and then Kara wakes him up, and then he's like, what's going on? And she's like, you got hit on the head with a coconut. And the way she said it was just like the most adorable thing. And then she says the costume clothes line.
Yeah, that was great.
So there are multiple cuts of this movie. I have not seen any of the other versions. So on the Blu-ray I have, the version we watched was called the International Cut, which is 2 hours and 5 minutes. And then there's the director's cut, which is 2 hours and 19 minutes.
Okay.
So I'm like, I wonder what's extra.
Yeah.
Like, because that's a pretty significant amount of footage. You know, that's like 15 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting. Let us know if any of you have seen the director's cut.
Oh, this is what it was. He said, I did write it down. He said, Linda Lee, these roses pale beside thee. I'm like,
oh yes,
that's peak poetry, man. I guess, what did you think of Ethan as a whole?
I liked him. Well, he's a dope, but he's cute.
I think Supergirl even says that, like, in one scene. Not exactly that, but basically that.
Yeah. No, I liked him. I'm not sure what kind of other spell he was under when he was captured by Selena, and then he was kind of her pet.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It didn't seem like a love potion, but he was under some sort of spell when he was with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't really know either.
Was he the guy that the girls were talking about when they were all in the shower after their softball game?
Yes.
Okay, they're like, did you see that guy with dark hair and blue eyes?
And the one girl tries to like burn them all with the hot water.
Yeah, the bullies. Supergirl took care of the bullies real easily.
Real easily.
Need her in high school.
Yeah.
What else? It was good. I liked the actress. What's her name? Helen
Slater.
Helen Slater. I liked her a lot. She was good. Although, honestly, she looked completely different with brown hair. Like,
she did.
had a hard time even, like, finding her distinguishing features, like, switching between her blonde and brown hair. I feel like, she kind of has a generic face, but still attractive. And, yeah, she seemed to know a lot about Earth, but then not a lot about Earth at the same time. Like, you think, so Ethan asked her to marry him, and she knew what marriage is and all about that, because maybe they have that on their planet, I guess. And but then she doesn't know what a tree is or a bra. And so I think she needs to make an encyclopedia with Zoltar. Except Zoltar did.
Yeah.
He sacrificed himself.
So she knows enough, and then Zoltar knows the rest. So if they come together and make an encyclopedia, that would be, then all the Kryptonians in Argo City can read it, and then that's what's going to prep them for the upcoming war in the 2-part sequel. Okay, yeah. So I'll ask you this: if you were asked to write the second movie of this,
oh my god,
what would you have happen? It doesn't have to be in any order.
Definitely a Superman mashup.
Which is yes.
Or he has to come in at some point, maybe just at the end. So Supergirl, she is. Let's see, who's the villain? Let's see. I would like to see like a reptilian.
Okay.
Like kind of like Godzilla.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it could be in Japan. Actually, that'd be pretty cool. I'd like to see it. Yeah, in a foreign country. Yeah, maybe Italy, Greece. Really cinematically beautiful and interesting. And this giant reptile is taking over and crushing all these ancient ruins that are already ruined, but he's crushing it more. Then Supergirl has to fight it, but it's like really easy. Maybe that's the intro. She just like kind of defeats this reptilian, and then some like mastermind behind the reptilian comes forward, and he or she. I'd like to see it be a she again, because I like that woman against woman dynamic that we saw in this one.
Okay, cool.
So it's like an evil genius woman who makes these crazy reptiles. Except, so she's like building this top secret crazy reptile, and Supergirl has to take her down. Otherwise, she's just gonna build like a whole Jurassic Park of these reptiles, take over the world or something. That's
great. So it's basically Rita Repulsa, but instead of making putties, she's making dinosaurs or reptilian creatures.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. I dig that.
And then Superman probably comes in the third act, and maybe he just says hello. Maybe he could have like a Stan Lee cameo where he's just like waving to crowds of people, like being like a charismatic superhero. He's on like a tour you know, and he's traveling, and then we just see Supergirl flying by him, and he's not doing anything. He's just like signing autographs, and she's actually fighting.
That'd be awesome.
Like that. Because that way you wouldn't have to take an existing Superman and have to worry about who the actor is and everything. It's just like some Superman, you know?
Right, but if you're going to have them like fight together, it'd have to be Christopher Reeve Superman for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'd write.
I think what I would want to do is I would want to have it, like I said, set in Argo City, and for some reason there's some danger. Maybe it's the other power source that's mentioned but we never see. Somehow Supergirl goes to Earth, or all her Earth friends come to Argo City, and then there's like, maybe this could be the third movie, there's like this big like battle happening. And oh, hey, hang on, I've got it. So in the second movie, she's in Earth in Japan fighting this Godzilla type thing, right? All these reptilian creatures. So while that's happening, there's actually two villains, and then they send the other villain to Argo City, and then they're like screwing stuff up there and like, you know, making it like a dictatorship and all of that. So then, but then Kara's away on Earth fighting, so she doesn't know about any of that, and then she finds out about it somehow, and then she gathers up all her motley crew of cast members from the first two movies from Earth, and then she takes them all with her, and then they all have to fight whatever's going on in Argo City.
Oh, snap.
Maybe somehow she gets sent to the Phantom Zone, or she somehow finds Selena again, and then they end up and agree to work together, and then Selena turns into a good character.
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, maybe they could fight together then.
She got like her demon witch powers, and then Supergirl's got all her powers too. So
yeah, they'd be a pretty good team.
Mm-hmm. All right, there we go. So we would tell Hollywood to write it, but I think it's a little too late now. It's been like 40 years. Almost.
If you're enjoying this podcast, you can subscribe, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, pretty much anywhere where you get your podcasts, and it really helps if you rate and review us so that we are more visible on those websites, and let us know how we're doing. So thank you. We appreciate your feedback and your listening. I also wanted to mention we are opening up our Gmail account for anyone to send us their problems they're having right now. And I think we're going to start having a section at the end of each podcast where we read some listener problems, and then we can prescribe some movies that might bring you some solace or try to help you as best we can as your therapists.
So the email is filmtherapypodcasts@gmail.com. Go there and send us an email. Even if all you want is ice cream at 3 a.m, we can't supply you with that, but we can listen to your problems, no matter how minuscule they are. And if they're bigger problems, then maybe you'll go want to see an actual therapist. But we're a good place to start when it comes to film-related problems. My voice just cracked during that. Shit.
Yeah, so email us your problems at filmtherapypodcast@gmail.com.
What, my quiet whisper wasn't good enough?
No, because I couldn't hear what you're saying.
Oh, that's what I said.
Oh, okay. Do you mind if I ask you if you've watched anything else this week, or do you want to have anything else to say about Supergirl?
I really don't. I'm just really glad you watched this with me, and I'm glad that you enjoyed it, because finding fans of this movie is always fun, because there aren't that many. Maybe there are, but it's definitely a movie that a lot of people didn't see and didn't like and all of that. And I think now with the superhero movie boom that we have, it's kind of a unique, weird little 80s movie. There's people that are saying like, oh, you know, like all the... And you know, I'm not getting into the ethical debate of sexism and all of that. That's not what I'm talking about. But there's a lot of people out now being like, oh, you know, there's female superhero led movies, and that's like really great for, you know, young girls and everything, which is absolutely true. But then I'm like, well, it's not just now. It's been in the past, in the early 2000s, which some of those weren't good. But then you have like, you know, this was like, this like paved the way kind of for what we have now. Even if it's in its own minuscule, insignificant way.
Yeah, definitely.
But forget all that BS. It's just a movie from my childhood that I still love, even though it's not objectively that great of a movie. So that's the real reason I wanted to show it to you. So I'm glad you liked it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, this is my first time watching it, and it was enjoyable for sure.
Yeah. So what did I watch this week? For the first time, I watched Mulholland Drive, which was fantastic. I've been meaning to watch all of David Lynch's filmography, but this movie, it has the scariest movie moments I've ever seen in my life. Like, there's 3 moments in this movie that just scared the bejesus out of me, and I'm still thinking about them.
Dang.
All of them involve this old, like, decrepit hag character that just, like, comes around corners, like, just walks around corners, and it's the scariest thing ever. And then the last 2 minutes of this movie is just like a bunch of flashing lights and like old people grimacing, and it's really intense. I guess spoilers, but not really. That's a visual spoiler, not a plot spoiler. But yeah, it's David Lynch, so it's definitely his unique style. So if you like that, it's well worth watching. It's great.
So yeah, David Lynch did Twin Peaks and Blue Velvet and Fire Walk with Me.
Which we could spend a whole episode on all of those separately and together.
Spend a whole year of episodes on all that.
That could just be its own spin-off podcast, really. Just Blue Velvet and then Twin Peaks season 1, like we go episode by episode, and then season 2, then the Fire Walk with Me, The Missing Pieces, season 3, the books, whatever, all that shit.
Oh my god. What else did you watch? Anything else?
No, not really, because I went on vacation for the 7 days of the week, so I really haven't watched much else. Mm-hmm. I was trying to think if I had. Today I was going to watch Eraserhead, continuing my Lynch binge, but I haven't. I didn't watch it yet, so I'll probably watch that tomorrow or something.
I might watch that tomorrow if you watch it tomorrow too.
Well, now we know what we're doing next time. No. We can talk about it a little bit if you want, but I want to talk with Davis next time. Let's make that happen.
Definitely. Yes. So next week we're gonna have our friend Davis on.
The Extreme.
I'm so excited.
Me too.
He is. We've talked about him before, but he's very special to me
and to me too.
To you. We're gonna be talking about Twister. So that'll
be
fun. That's our prescription.
Yes, is Twister from 1996.
Dang, really? Is that old?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah, Davis definitely completes. If we're like a trio, Davis definitely completes that for sure. He's the glue that brought us together.
He is, yeah. So we're really excited for that. We're going to have our first guest. And before I get into the rest of it, I'll tell you what I watched this week.
Okay, yeah, so what did you watch this week? You talk for a bit.
Okay, so I rewatched a lot. I didn't watch anything new. I rewatched Safety Not Guaranteed because they just recently put it on Netflix, which I have been waiting for forever. It's been on my Amazon list probably since right after I saw it the first time. I think I watched it with Judy, and it's got Aubrey Plaza and Mark Duplass, who is my favorite. They go on a time travel adventure together, kind of. A preparation for time travel really is what it is, but it's just so sweet, and it falls into my favorite category of movies where I need to come up with a name for this, because it's like sometimes comedy, sometimes drama, but there's always that bit of magic aspect to it, you know? I rewatched that, and then I rewatched Being John Malkovich, which also falls into the magical category that I like too. Have you seen that?
No, I actually haven't seen it.
They also recently put that on Netflix, so I watched it with my boyfriend who had not seen it yet, so it was fun to watch his reaction, be like, what the heck is going on? And which is what my reaction was the first time I saw it too. It's just really fun. Got a great cast. The makeup team deserves many awards because John Cusack and Cameron Diaz look so much different than how you're used to seeing them. And Catherine Keener is great in it. John Malkovich is great in it. It's just a fun movie. And I also rewatched Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, the first one.
Are you serious?
And yeah.
I've been I have this friend, and that's his favorite movie, and I've been been meaning to rewatch that movie, and I'm gonna see one of my friends later this week, and we might actually watch it. So I've been meaning to rewatch that for like a month. So the fact that you rewatched it, I love that movie. I want to watch it again. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah.
No, yeah. My boyfriend got a new sound system hookup, so we picked something that had a really good soundtrack. So obviously, Pirates of the Caribbean. I get down to that soundtrack. It's so great. I love it so much. I listen to it when I like really need to get pumped up.
Yeah.
Or like if I'm kayaking on the lake.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm like, dun, 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 dun. Man, yeah, so that was good. And we started watching Dead Man's Chest last night, but only made it about halfway through before we fell asleep. So we'll probably watch all of them. I don't think I've seen the last one, and which I'm not even sure which one is the last one. I've seen 4 of them. That's all I know.
I've seen the first 3. I think I started the 4th one once and didn't finish it. But there's 5. Mm-hmm. There's 5.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I know the first 3 pretty well, but the 4th I've only seen once, and then I haven't seen the last one. Yeah. Which I don't know which one is which.
One of them is the 4th one, and one of them is the 5th one.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Exactly.
They both have Johnny Depp.
Yep.
I guess you haven't seen him in a while, but rewatching them, what do you think of... Well, I guess I'll ask you next time, too, but what do you think of... You said the first one's awesome. What do you think of the second one so far?
So... They're all on D+.
They're all on D+.
Disney Plus.
Yes, D+.
And so I which kind of brings to light that they are Disney movies. And the first one I thought wasn't too Disney, too like slapstick children's comedy, but the second one really is a lot of that. They really take it to the next level of like bringing back the crowd favorite scenes from the first one. It's so good. Like, it was really fun to rewatch the first one for sure. And the second one I actually really like because I like the Davy Jones character a lot. I think his, I wouldn't say makeup, but his CGI face is really cool. Mm-hmm. And also, Bootstrap Bill's makeup is really cool too. And like the whole crew of the Flying Dutchman, they've got like these barnacles on their faces and they're like living off the sea, which is really cool.
Are you ready for this? It's called the Ugly Barnacle. Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end. Sorry, spoilers for the Ugly Barnacle. But if you don't know the ending by now...
Oh my god.
If you don't know the ending by now, then go away.
Oh man. The Ugly Barnacle.
Squidward, the sky had a baby. Holy shrimp. That's what I'm going to say.
Holy shrimp.
Holy shrimp. Squidward, the sky had a baby. That's not a baby, that's a giant anchor. Hey, SpongeBob, the sky had a baby. I know. What do you think we should name it? How about... And now I've delved into insanity, also known as SpongeBob quotes. Have you finished those errands?
Have you finished those errands?
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
My boyfriend is Mr. Krabs when he's in the episode of where he is trying to impress Mrs. Puff. Did I already tell you this? I feel like I already told you
No, you've
this.
never told me this.
Where he's tells SpongeBob to go and like buy Mrs. Puff a bunch of like gifts with all of his money, and then SpongeBob buys all these gifts and gives them to Mrs. Puff, and he's like, Mr. Krabs is like, "You're spending on me money," and my boyfriend is like that because whenever he falls asleep at night, we're always watching TV, and he falls asleep, and he's like, no, just wake me up. Just keep waking me up until I wake up. And so I do. And then he gets so mad at me because I'm waking him up. And he's like, no, let me sleep. I'm tired. And then also with the thermostat, he's like, why do you keep it so cold in here? It's freezing. And then yesterday it was at 72. And he's like, it's so bloody hot in here. Okay, he didn't say bloody. That's my Pirates of the Caribbean talk coming out. But he's like, it's so hot in here. Why is it at 72? And I was like, oh my God, you told me to turn it up. So that's what I think about all the time. You spend it on me money.
I thought when you first started the story, I thought you were legit going to go into like actual finances, and then my thought was like, oh shit, what are we getting into?
Oh no.
But that's funny. Bad. My sister's kind of that way too. Whenever like she's up late, she's like, just wake me up, and then I'm like, okay, wake me up good time, and I'm like, okay, and then like when I wake her up, she'd be like, why are you waking me up? And I'm like, you told me to, and she'd just get like really pissed off. And then when I first woke her up, she'd get pissed off that I was waking her up, and then later on she'd be like, why didn't you wake me? And I'm like, I did, but you got pissed at me. So
Yep. Exactly. That's a very valid thing Mr. Krabs does.
It's not a valid thing at all. It's ridiculous.
That's valid, but common.
Okay, that's better.
Okay, so I also wanted to mention, before I got into my things I watched this week is that we are opening up our Gmail account for anyone to send us their problems they're having right now. And I think we're going to start having a section at the end of each podcast where we read some listener problems and then we can prescribe some movies that might bring you some solace or try to help you as best we can as being your therapists. Yeah, so we're here to help everyone. You know, we love to dive into psychotherapy, so
We do.
we've both experienced therapy, so right?
Yeah. Wait, what'd you say?
You've been to therapy? I've been to therapy.
I've been to therapy. I've been to therapy twice in my life. The first time was horrible. The second time was good.
Okay, good.
Maybe I'll go again sometime soon. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I might need to go sometime.
I actually am seriously considering going sometime soon.
I'm having a hard time trusting therapists, you know, but
yeah, me too.
I know I just got to get over that and find someone I like. And if I don't like someone, then I can change, you know?
Yeah, that was my problem with the first therapist I went to.
Yeah.
The trust was not there at all. It was the absolute opposite. One other thing I forgot to mention, I watched this other movie a couple days ago. It was called Against All Odds with Jeff Bridges. I didn't like it. I didn't finish it. That's it. It was really drawn out. So basically, the plot of the movie is Jeff Bridges is assigned to find his friend's girlfriend. So then he goes and finds her at this like island, and then they spend time there and fall in love. And then his friend tries to kill both of them. But I didn't get to that part because it took him it's a 2-hour movie. It took him like a half an hour, 40 minutes to get to the island. And then when he first goes up to her, she's like, "I don't want anything to do with you." And I'm like, "Oh crap! I know exactly how this is going to go." I did not. So I'm like, I'm done with this, and I turned it off.
What did you watch it on?
Somebody gave me their DVD copy, so I watched that.
Oh, okay. Nice.
You don't need to know what service it's on because it's not worth watching.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I won't watch it.
But yeah,
what's it called again?
It's called Against All Odds.
Against All Odds.
And apparently, spoiler alert, in the end, they don't even get together. So I'm glad I didn't watch the rest of it.
Oh my goodness!
Like apparently she kills the bad guy, and then she makes a deal with like a mob boss to get herself out of jail, and then they can't be together because of that. So it's like,
wow.
So that's the ending. I guess I should have asked you if you cared if I spoiled it, but I didn't watch the whole thing. So
nope, don't care.
Yeah, so my uncle gave me a lot of movies, and that was one of them that he gave me, and I keep wanting to watch other things, but I'm trying to get through those because I'm like, you know, I'm borrowing them. I want to get them back to him, but then that one I just didn't like. But there are some ones that I do want to watch, so I'll get to those.
Yeah, keep me posted. Keep us posted.
I shall. I didn't even realize any of this is going up. I thought we were just talking, so...
Oh, no.
Let's talk a little bit about Supergirl again.
Okay.
The best things about that movie are the set design, Helen Slater, and the music. All three of those things are absolutely beautiful.
I agree. Yeah. Well, also I would say Selena. I think she was probably my favorite.
Yeah, Selena was good too. Yeah, so Supergirl's parents are only in the movie for like 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then they never show up again. And then we never see her actually go back into Argo City. We just see her, we see her go, but we don't see the inside. So, like, but it was, like, dim, and then it brightens up. So it's like, is everybody dead, or are they just, like, sleeping in comas? Or I wonder.
Oh. You think everyone's dead?
Well, because and it starts, it's lighting up, and then when she goes back at the end, it's dim, and then when she takes the Omegahedron back, it lights up again. And then earlier in the movie, her mom says something like, the lights grow dim, and the air we breathe gets thin, or something.
Uh-oh.
So I'm like...
I hope that she saved everyone.
I think she did, because the movie just ends, so, like...
Right. So it's got to be a happy ending, right?
Yeah. Maybe
so.
Maybe that's how she gets back to Earth for the second one, because her family's dead, so she's like, well, there's no point in going anywhere, so I'm going to go to Japan.
Yeah, so she's like, actually, Ethan, you can come with me. Yeah, we're going to go fight some reptiles.
Sounds good. Yeah, she should get her own Fortress of Solitude. Like, that'd be great, and then that's
okay, wait. Yeah, I missed the fortress. What happened there? I missed it being, like, appearing. Who did that?
Okay, hang on. I'm talking about something different. So, in Superman, he has a Fortress of Solitude, but then Supergirl doesn't have anything like that. But Superman's Fortress of Solitude is, like, this thing that gets created, and it's basically, like, this place in the ice. It's like his home, where it's, like, it looks like Krypton, basically. The fortress in this movie, you mean, like, the big castle that Selene is in? Yeah, so it just appears out of nowhere. There's
she just she conjures it up.
Yeah, I'm not really clear because that's like when the time starts to go differently and like we see like days and months pass and all of that. So, but I feel like she just got powerful enough to conjure it. I'm not entirely sure.
That's kind of crazy, dude.
Yeah,
she built a whole mountain.
Yeah, it's not the Paramount Mountain. It's not the Rocky Mountains or the Smoky Mountains. It's just a mountain.
Just one mountain.
Selena's Mountain.
It's kind of like Splash Mountain.
Yeah, except Splash Mountain doesn't exist anymore. That's what happened. She teleported Splash Mountain from Disneyland to where she wanted it, and that's why it's not there anymore.
Oh my gosh, she's truly evil.
No. The real reason why it's not there is because it's from a movie that's banned. So it's like Song of the South, which I've never seen, but I've heard it's incredibly racist. So they. Oh. But after 80.
Really, they took it down.
Yeah, they took it down. It's no longer there.
When?
Like recently, like last couple, like I think right before COVID, they were talking about doing it.
Oh wow! Okay, wow. Nice. Okay.
Oh yeah, when Selena does the poem or the spell, I mean, when she's like, "Powers of shadow take shape, seek out that creature and bring them to me wherever they are," and then Bianca's like, "Oh my god, that's terrible. That's not gonna work."
Oh, I know.
That was
because at the same
funny.
time, my boyfriend was like, "That's terrible."
Yeah.
Because he just happened to step in at that spot.
Yeah. Didn't he just come in and be like, "What movie is this?"
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then he watched for a little bit.
Oh yeah, when they're talking about Bianca's like, "I was reading this book and then it says if you start your own coven, all you have to do is charge $5 a head." Like,
I'd join.
Oh yeah, so what did you think of like the principal of the school? Like he was kind of an airhead.
Psh, principal schmitzable. Yeah, he was. I didn't. No. Mm-mm.
No.
It was silly when he just walked out and then Supergirl used her extra speedy powers to quickly write a letter of recommendation from Clark Kent that proves that she belongs there. And yeah.
Man, if I could just like write stuff that fast, that'd be great. I would love that power.
Oh man, yeah, you could write some mad scripts.
Yeah.
I need to write more.
I want to too, honestly. I just like part of me wants to and part of me is just like I just don't do it, you know?
It's just I just can't see like an end goal with it, you know? So it's like, ugh, what's the point?
Yeah, same, absolutely. I have a couple things I'm writing right now because I really want to get, I really do want to get a book published, but at the same time it's like it feels like such an abstract goal. It's like it's weird.
So I guess we should wrap it up for Supergirl episode.
Yeah, I guess.
Thanks for showing it to me.
Yeah, I guess we didn't talk about it all that much. We did quite a bit, but not like most of the episode was on like other shit.
It was good. It's entertaining. I recommend it.
Yeah, I do too, obviously.
So take your medicine for next week. Watch some Twister, and we can talk about it with our first guest, Davis.
The extreme. It's the extreme.
It's the extreme. I'm so excited.
I'm excited too. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Yes, so stay tuned for next week. Mm-hmm. And thanks for watching. Please. Listening. If you're enjoying this podcast, you can subscribe, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, pretty much anywhere where you get your podcasts, and it really helps if you rate and review us so that we are more visible on those websites, and let us know how we're doing. So
it really does help.
Thank you. We appreciate your feedback and your listening.
Thank you so very much for listening, as always. It's always a pleasure. Mm-hmm. Whenever we get feedback of any kind, it's always it's the best because we actually, there's people listening and we're actually maybe not making a huge difference, but at least people are taking their time out of their day to listen to us. So we very much appreciate it.
It's so special.
It's very special, absolutely.
Yeah, it's fun.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Film Therapy. Next time we will be discussing Twister and the wonders of wombology, the study of wombo. I mean, it's first grade, so everyone who's listening should know.
And if you haven't seen SpongeBob, I'm sorry.
If you haven't seen SpongeBob, you also shouldn't be listening.
I think you need to quit hiding behind quotes and use your own original quotes, Jake.
But that's scary. That means I'm putting myself out there. That's terrifying.
You need to put yourself out there. Mm-hmm.
That's why I haven't.
You need to come forth.
That's why I don't know if I'll put the. Okay, you want me to come forth? All right, you want to know my real identity? I'm actually secretly hiding in the Himalayas right now.
Oh my god.
I'm wanted by the FBI, the CIA, and every form of police you could ever find. Please don't turn me in, dear listeners.
So, go home or stay home. Watch Supergirl. Watch Twister. And we'll see you next week for another episode of Film Therapy. Stay safe, and thank you.
Thank you very much.